How's everybody? I hope everyone is fine. Alright, so my name is Mr. Hussein Mosapi, and in today's video I'll be walking you through dimension analysis, which covers lecture 1 of your physics. So kindly like and subscribe to this channel in order for us to have more videos. Alright, let's begin. So now let us try and understand, let's say discuss what dimension analysis really is. So this is one of the simplest topics you ever come across in physics. It's actually just a chip off the shoulder. So when you talk about the term dimension, a dimension is just a quantity of a base unit that makes up, let me just say that makes it up to say, but they will never ask you such questions. It's just food for thought that you know. Then the other thing you should understand is that dimension analysis is just the checking of dimensions of all the quantities in an equation to ensure that those which are added, maybe even sometimes subtracted, or you could even say equated, have the same dimensions. So it's literally about knowing if the left or the right has the same dimensions, and also other problems that I might ask you in future. But when you come across dimension analysis, it's basically important for you to understand the basic grade 12 knowledge of quantities and units. So let's just have a review of that. Let's try and review quantities and units. So we know what quantities are, but basically whenever you're talking about quantities, in your head, please picture what we call physical quantities. Now these physical quantities just represent everything in the world that can be measured. Now we can look at so many things that we can measure in the world. For instance, you can talk about the mass of an object, you can talk about length, you can talk about time, you can talk about velocity. What other examples? Yes, maybe temperature, if that's what you said. Temperature, current, the luminous intensity. You could also look at things like mass. That I've already mentioned mass actually. You can talk about things like weight, the force of an object, and actually there are many. I can mention everything that we can measure in the world. Now these physical quantities being literally everything that you can measure in the world, or anything measurable, you need to bear in mind that these physical quantities can be divided into two categories. We have what we call the basic quantities, and these are the ones we'll look at first. Alright, what are basic quantities? You know, it's very advisable that whenever you're watching a video, that when somebody asks you a question, try and answer it. Yeah, I know I won't hear you, but your consciousness will. So now basic quantities are these quantities that only have one SI unit. Okay, so a quantity with only one SI unit. Quite simple to understand, isn't it? So now these basic quantities are quite several. We literally have like 7 in the world, but what I want to look at are the most common basic quantities. So let's look at these basic quantity examples. So let me just write quantity, which is basic quantity, and what else? Every quantity has a dimension. The dimension is mostly put in square brackets, and also the units. Then I guess I would just say unit. Let me also say SI unit. Let me say SI symbol, not unit, so that we don't get a mix up. Alright, so to start with, let's talk about the first basic quantity, which is length. So length is literally defined to be the measurement of something from one end to another. Everybody knows what length is. If you go to the tailor or the seamstress to, let's say, mend a cloth, they'll always measure or take measurements, and those measurements will be taken from one end to the other. Whatever they will have in between will be the length. The dimensions of length is simply a capital L enclosed in a square brackets. And what are the units? The units are what we call the meters. This is quite simple for everybody. Now the SI symbol is simply just a small letter m. Then other than length, we have also what we regard as mass. Though mass is quite misunderstood in our day-to-day lives. We say mass is the amount of matter contained in an object. Though if you put in mind, okay, let me first finish. Mass is the quantity of matter in an object. The dimensions of mass is a capital M in a square bracket. The units are what we call the kilograms. Kilo is a prefix, but we just go with kilograms. Kilograms, and the SI symbol is kg. Now, when you say each finine phi, like that broken bemba we like to say, is scientifically wrong. When you say each finine, so they say a bag of millimil has a mass of 25 kg. So you can't say that obungabu finine 25 kg. That will be 100% wrong, because fina is not really mass; it's actually weight. So mass is literally okufula, if you can speak Bemba, that is. But anyway, that's just food for thought. So put that in mind. Then we also have let's also look at temperature, just in case it came. Temperature. So the dimensions for temperature is a capital Q. Then the units are what we call kelvins. There's a Kelvin watching this, then I guess you're famous, bro. Then the symbol is simply just a capital K. Then the last basic quantity we were going to look at is time. Time has the dimensions of a capital T. We know the units are actually seconds. This one is a no-brainer. The symbol is S. So these basic units we have actually looked at are the ones that are literally common. So bear in mind of this. So even if I did mention or discuss with you these other physical quantities that are like derived quantities, like we have other quantities called derived quantities, even if I did explain what derived quantities are, when it comes to dimension analysis, our main focus are the basic what? Quantities, because these basic quantities are the ones that make up these derived quantities. And since we want to check if what's on the left is equal to what's on the right, then basically it's important to just know basic quantities. I hope you're clear. So in this video I will only look at this. Now let's move on to a different video where we will discuss questions that are brought on dimension analysis. But please remember what I've looked at. Dimension analysis just talks about how, okay, let's just say if an equation is correct or wrong, if the dimension on the left or the right is the same or not. All this dimension analysis is as a result of physical quantities, which are quantities that can be measured, and they are divided into two basic and derived quantities. Basic quantities only have one SI unit, and we have looked at the four common basic quantities: length, mass, temperature, and time. We have looked at that dimensions, which are this, that, and that. Then, since the dimensions are the ones that are mostly important, these other things will be looked at as a no-brainer. Alright, so I hope you like this video, and like I said, please subscribe, share this video to your friends in order to help your friends, and don't forget to like or leave a comment. My name is Mr. Hussein Wasapi. My number is in the description